Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. My name is Danae, and I am a gardener and herbalist, and today I'm going to share with you some tea blends I experimented with this winter. I grew the plants used for my herbal teas in my own garden here in Maine, collecting all throughout the spring, summer, and autumn, and dehydrating the plants using various methods. In previous years, I left the plants I collected in their separate mason jars, experimenting with different blends of teas by switching out ingredients and their proportions, until I finally settled on a few I was certain I enjoyed for their flavor and for their healing properties. I am very excited to finally share these blends with you today. So I made a sleepy time tea, and this is my own custom blend. You've probably heard of Celestial Seasoning Sleepy Time. This is basically my own version of that. It has many of the same ingredients with some differences, different substitutes that I use that I can grow here. For example, the Celestial Seasoning Sleepy Time, I believe, has hawthorn in it. I didn't have hawthorn on hand, so instead I used lavender. I kept a list of the ingredients and proportions in this journal here. My own version of a sleepy time tea, which you can kind of just think as a calming tea that you might want to have right before you go to bed to help you get a better night's sleep. And this tea was 4 parts chamomile, 1 part red raspberry leaf, 0.5 parts or half a part of lavender, 1 part spearmint, and half a part or 0.5 parts lemon basil. One thing that I noticed is different about making your own version of sleepy time or making any version of chamomile tea where you're using fresh flowers rather than getting chamomile tea at a store. The ingredients in the tea are quite aged at that point. Chamomile has a natural bitterness to it, so I did find that the flavor was a little bit different, but by adding spearmint and a little bit of that lemon basil, it really helps to improve the flavor. One thing that I would do differently with this formula, I actually didn't have a lot of lemon balm on hand last year, and I would have preferred to use lemon balm over lemon basil simply because lemon balm also has some relaxing anti-anxiety properties, and I would have loved to have seen that in this tea. But the lemon basil was a great substitute, and it also adds its own really unique kind of umami flavor. All right, so the next tea is a tea I made for treating allergies during the winter. I really struggle once we get our wood stove going in our house. The air really dries up and my sinuses dry up as well. So I wanted to have a tea that would help with allergies as well as get, your mucous membranes producing mucus and just keep everything in your sinuses soft. So I made an allergy tea, and the allergy tea has the following ingredients. All right, so this tea is 2 parts stinging nettle. Stinging nettle is great for just loads of things, but for the purpose of this tea, stinging nettle is an anti-inflammatory as well as an anti-allergen. So it's 2 parts stinging nettle, 0.25 parts or 1/4 part anise seeds, so star anise, or you can use powdered anise. This is going to add a kind of sweet licorice flavor to your tea. And then it's 1 part red clover and self-heal. Both of these plants are really great for just overall health. I usually add clover and self-heal to like any of my wellness tinctures that I take daily. And then it's 1 part mullein. You hear me talk a lot about mullein. Mullein is great as an expectorant, and it helps you to produce mucus. The expectorant part is where you're actually coughing up the mucus, so it helps with both things. And then it is also 0.5 parts spearmint. Spearmint is there for the improvement of the flavor. So I've obviously gone through a lot of this allergy tea, and I would say it is mildly effective. I did find that it helped to get the sinuses running. I wouldn't say it did much to prevent allergies. It did help to alleviate the symptoms when I was experiencing it. Usually I'd have to have like 3 cups a day to really see any benefits from drinking this tea. All right, so here's one you hear me talk about a lot. This is my Moontime tea. Here I have it labeled as my Mense tea, which is just short for a menstruation tea. And this is a tea that helps to support women's health. And I might not even need to look at the ingredients. I'm pretty familiar with what is in this. So this contains lemon balm, an astringent that helps with uterine cramps, as well as rose petals, another astringent that also is a mood enhancer. And it also contains black tea, and black tea is a diuretic, so it can help with symptoms related to bloating. And then instead of spearmint, I actually put chocolate mint into this because who doesn't like chocolate when they're on their period? It really just adds an extra enjoyment from the flavor and the aroma. I really love chocolate mint. I'm hoping that I can grow more of it in my garden this year. I had a very small patch and almost all of it went into this tea. I really liked how this copper lining looks on this bottle, and I like to have it on display. So that is an excellent tea. I find for me that I'm able to use this Moontime tea instead of using Midol. If you are interested in finding kind of natural remedies that can replace things that you might take over the counter, I would definitely recommend trying that blend out. My last tea blend here is a detox tea, and you can see on the label here that I wrote use as a concoction. I think my brain was a little addled when I wrote that. I meant to write decoction, and a decoction is a little bit different than, say, if you wanted to put a tea bag into water and steep it. So a decoction is really useful when you are working with more hardy herbs, especially like the roots of a plant. And it takes a little bit more effort sometimes to extract the beneficial compounds that are present in the medicinal herbs. So a decoction involves putting the plants into a boiling pot and letting that simmer for anywhere between a half an hour to an hour, and then straining out the liquid. And so because this contains dandelion root, I decided that this tea is best as a decoction. This contains dandelion root, calendula, and ginger. Ginger's there to improve the flavor, but ginger can also enhance the beneficial compounds that are already present in the dandelion root and in the calendula. And so this tea, obviously from the name, is a detox tea, and the different herbs in it, the calendula and the dandelion root, help to support your lymphatic system and your kidneys. It's very good at helping to cleanse the body. I have a sluggish lymphatic system, and so I drink this tea a lot to help with swollen lymph nodes, especially in my neck. And just so you can know the proportions for the detox tea, this is 3 parts dandelion root, 2 parts calendula petals, and 0.25 or 1/4 parts ginger. So one of the things I'm trying out right now is the Celestial Seasonings variety pack of like different berry flavored teas. And I actually do have blueberries on the property. So I'm hoping to incorporate some flavorful varieties of plants into my future tea blends. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.